Today's another important article is the gender angle to India's economic vulnerabilities. India's economic ascent, which is now valued at $4.19 trillion, has earned it a fine place in the global growth story. The country is poised to become the world's third largest economy. At this moment now faces a formidable disruption. The proposed 50% tariff by the United States President Donald Trump on Indian exports, targeting $40 billion in trade. These tariffs could shave off nearly 1% from India's GDP, striking off labor-intensive sectors such as textiles, gems, and leather and footwear, which are critical industries that disproportionately employ women. Unlike China, which has weathered US tariffs through its manufacturing scale and diversified exports, India remains vulnerable. The US accounts for 18% of India's exports. An increased tariff could lead to 30 to 35% cost disadvantage against competitors such as Vietnam, leaving Indian exports exposed. In this moment of crisis, these words appear prescient. The strength of nation lies in the strength of its women. India's failure to economically empower half its population is not just a social concern, it is now a strategic liability. The tariffs threaten to destabilize employment for millions of Indian women. The textiles, gems, leather and footwear sector, which employ nearly 50 million people, face a projected export decline of up to 50%. Additionally, India's existing low female participation rate, female labor force participation rate, that is, has remained stuck between 37 and 41.7%, far below the global average, and China 60%. According to the International Monetary Fund, closing the gender gap could boost India's GDP by 27% in the long term, yet that is a promising that is stifled by cultural constraints, policy inertia and systemic barriers to employment. LFPR definition is it measures the proportion of working age population, that is 15 to 60 years, those working people are actively seeking job, and calculated by the total labor force. LFPR equals to labor force by working age population. The ticking clock. India is inching closer to its peak of demographic dividend, a period where the working age population vastly outnumbers dependents. This window, which could close by 2045, once fueled growth in China, Japan, US economies now past their prime demographic advantage, which flattened growth curves. India must act to convert this fleeting dividend into sustained prosperity, and this means fully integrating women into the workforce. Labor participation by rural women has inched up. It increased, but mostly is unpaid and low productivity family work. In urban India, female workforce participation has stagnated. Stagnated means it becomes stop developing. Stagnating means it becomes stop developing. Safety concerns, unreliable public transport, lack of sanitation, crushing burden of unpaid care work continue to push women out of in schools and jobs. India risks the fate of South European economies such as Italy and Greece, where low FLFPR female labor force participation rate has placed a long-term drag on growth. The urgency is clear, as it is now or never moment. Lessons from abroad, solution at home. Global superpowers offer a roadmap. The US leveraged women's labor during the Second World War with equal pay and child care. China's post-1978 reforms drove 60% female labor force participation rate through state-backed care and education. Japan raises its FLFPR from 63% to 70%, boosting GDP per capita by 4%. The Netherlands part-time work model with equal benefits suits India, where women prefer such roles. These nations invested in legal protections, care infrastructure, skill training, which are areas where India lags. India lags. Instead of India needs structural reforms that empowers women as economic agent. Karnataka's Shakti scheme, which offers free public bus travel to women, is one such intervention. Since its launch in 2023, female ridership has surged by over 40%. The scheme has enhanced women's mobility for work, education, enterprise, especially in women peri-urban areas. This has enabled more women to gain improved access to job markets, decrease their dependence on male family members, and achieve greater autonomy. Redirecting spend from broad welfare schemes like targeted programs such as tax intensive for female entrepreneurs, digital inclusive drives, gender focused skilling platforms can yield more sustainable gains. Formalizing gig and part-time workers through updated labor codes, social protections would bring millions of women into formal economy. Urban Company, a leading gig platform, has onboarded over 15,000 women service providers. These workers earn 18,000 to 25,000 in a month. Along with access to accidental insurance, maternity benefits, and skill development, the platform emphasis on safety, training, transparent pay highlights how gig workers can be empowering, particularly for semi-skilled urban women. On the public side, Rajasthan's Indira Gandhi Urban Employment Guarantee Scheme has created over 4 crore person days of work, with nearly 65% of jobs ongoing women. It's flexible. Neighborhood-based jobs in sanitation, greening and care work have enabled many first-time workers, especially those restricted by domestic duties, to enter the workforce. These cases show when the state recognizes and supports non-traditional work, it can unlock massive economic value. A movement of reckoning. Reckoning means act of calculation. The looming US tariff shock should serve as a wake-up call. India's economic vulnerabilities are not just due to external threats. They also stem from internal negligence, especially in tapping the potential of working age women. Empowering women is not a social gesture. It is a growth of imperative. It is a linchpin of demographic dividend, utilization, export competitiveness, and equitable development. If India seeks to become a true global powerhouse, its progress must be built on the shoulder of both its men and women. India stands at a crossroads. It can rise by investing in its women, or it can falter by ignoring them. So, it means it is going back. If we ignore the women's empowerment, the other path leads to missed opportunities and economic fragility. backwardness. Fragility means it also vulnerable.